Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good weekend. I just been working this week. Haven't really had a chance to drop a new video. So today's Sunday, and believe it or not, we've got beautiful weather where I've been outside in the garage all day long, just messing around, just kind of tinkering with stuff. Um, One of my last videos, I said that I had pulled the motor out of. I had a K5 Blazer that I bought just for the motor. So when it's wintertime and you get a lot of bad weather, whether it's raining or snowing or freezing cold, you gotta kind of work inside the garage. So I'm to the point now where I'm going to call my engine builder. He's getting up there in the age. I think he's 80, 70. He was 79 last time I talked to him, so he's 80 or 81 now. But I want to call him and see, every time I talk to him about bringing an engine up to him, he always kind of hem-haws around about it, just because he don't really want to mess with it. But I can still squeak him in. His name's Bob Beach. He's a living legend around the Columbus, Ohio area. He's built a bunch of engines through the years. So I'd like to be able to try to squeeze two more out of him, but that means I might have to do them real quick, back to back. And when he gets on an engine, he goes pretty quick. So it's not about a matter of him. I mean, even at his older age, he could still jam through them. But you gotta produce that money, because it gets quick. It gets expensive real quick, depending on what that engine needs. So I'll show you the engine I'm talking about and go over a few other little things that I was just kind of messing with today. So here we go. I want to get this engine right here for my convertible. I want to take that up to him. I was just looking at it. I thought it had a crack in one of the cylinders, but I can't find it. So that's actually really good if it just needs a 30 over bore or something like that to clean it up. This engine is just a 1955 265 factory PowerPak, and that means it had a little bit different cam. Some of the different models in 56 had a little bit bigger cam for the PowerPaks, but in 55 it was basically, they took it from a two barrel with single exhaust, and then they put a four barrel on it with dual exhaust, and that took, the two barrel motor was like 180 horse. These aren't powerhouse motors, but I figure I've had a lot of 55s and a lot of 55 parts through my lifetime. So this is the original motor out of my convertible, and I'm really going to try to save this block if I can. So, and they did offer towards the 55, the end of the model run, and they're very scarce. I've read a little bit about them. I've never been able to find one, actually, whether it was listed for sale. I've never been able to see one, basically, whether it was a picture or in person. But the end of the 1955 model run, they made, it was called a Super PowerPak. This is a PowerPak. It was called a Super PowerPak, and it had a solid lift camshaft in it. And you got to keep in mind, this was the first year for Chevrolet's V8. Their bread and butter V8. So the Super PowerPak had, I don't know if it had different heads on it. The heads may have been worked a little bit, but it did have a different camshaft from this motor. It was a solid lift camshaft, and it took the horsepower to a whopping 195 horsepower. So in 55, the first V8, if it was a two barrel, was 162 horsepower. The four barrel motor was, the PowerPak four barrel motor was 180 horsepower. And then, like I said, I've never been able to see one in person or even pictures or anything, but they say in like the last month of the 55 model run, they made a Super PowerPak for 195 horsepower. But this is the engine I'm going to call Bob. I'll probably call him this week, and I'll let him know if he's wanting to do it. I'd like to drop this off after the first of the year, and we can. I've got the pistons, I've got the heads, it was a complete motor, but it was super locked up. I mean, it was super stuck. I had to beat basically the pistons. I had to beat them to get them out. A couple of them didn't survive, but that's all right. So I'd like to get that up there and see if this block is a good block to build, because I mean, it's the original one to the convertible. And I don't really mind if the convertible is just a cruiser with just some nice sounding dual exhaust on it. That's fine with me. But there's the engine. And you can see some of the cylinders don't look bad. And a lot of that's just like where I was wiping around on it with the gloves. So I was out here poking around with that today. Try to get that up to him. Because I was working real hard on the 57, but I almost want to get the 55 convertible driving, by summertime at least, because it's really the next one up on the list. There's no reason that the 57 Nomad should be able to ditch it in its line. And then I was out here messing with this car, and I put that mirror, these in 55 and 56 and 57, you could get the optional day-night mirror, so I just put that mirror in there. Just another little bonus, another little option. One guy told me that flag I hung it the wrong way, so I switched that around. If he's watching, the stars used to be on the right. And then here's the motor I got out of that's a 78 350. I'm hoping it's a 4-bolt main, and I don't really care anything about the heads or anything like that. I just want the short block. And as long as the motor checks out on the 55 convertible, I want to take that motor, that 350 I just showed you right here, and I'm anticipating that's a 4-bolt main motor. And I had that motor running and everything, but I'm anticipating that's a 4-bolt main, and I'm going to build a 1970 clone LT1 for this car with the solid lift cam, the camel hump heads, the forged steel crank, windage tray. I think that'd be a pretty fun little motor in there. A 70 Z28 or a 70 Corvette. It was a 350 rated at either 360 or 370 horsepower. So I've always wanted one of them engines, but just a 70 block, everybody wants them numbers, and I don't care about that. I essentially have the same block, just it's 8 years newer. But I think that would be a lot of fun in that car. Take that block and basically just keep the block. Get the 70 LT1 steel crank. I think they had pink rods. They had forged pistons, like 11-to-1 compression, and a real sweet solid lift camshaft. Get the camel hump heads on it. Even put the Z28 valve covers on it. Maybe put the aluminum snowflake intake on it and the carburetor. But the more parts you buy that's specific to that clone engine, you start throwing away your budget real quick. So that's my thought process anyways right now. Try to get the motor, because this is a cool car. It needs a little bit of floor work on the back left side, and the trunk's good, but I put the wirings back in it, but it needs all the brake lines. I'm sure brakes need redone. It needs a new gas tank. But I'm thinking that's where I want to start after the beginning of the year. I still want to do the body work on this car, but I don't get enough good weather to be able to pull it out, and I don't want to start cutting it and get things all tore apart, because it's 100% drivable right now. So unfortunately for the progress of that car, I'm gonna have to just wait on some good weather, so where I could pull it outside and it could sit out overnight and I could just work on it, or I could pull this one out. And then one last thing, I was messing with this car today, and I had two of these. You see how this one's bent? It's got a little bend. Well, the other one I had, it comes straight and it goes way down, straight down. And I was trying to determine which one I needed for the 57. And you could tell it's a 57 because 57 was the first year they put that vent tube. And that vent tube runs all the way down. A 57 gas tank's got a vent tube. 55 and 56 don't. So I figured it out, and now that's screwed back in there all good. So it took the long straight one. You could almost see it just goes straight down, and it kind of goes down and then connects. It kind of elbows and then goes to the gas tank. So I was able to get that figured out. I just want to go through, because somebody might need that, and I got a lot of just random junk that just sits around. So that's my update for the week, guys. And I'll show you. I put the mirror in this car today. Pretty decent mirror, really. See, so that, if you look at that, that's just your plain mirror. See, most of your cars nowadays, we're all spoiled where you got a day-night mirror, but you see that one don't have no lever on the bottom of it. That's the mirror that I did have in the convertible, and you could just unspin them right off of the bracket. So, but you can see on this one, it's got a lever. They call them day-night mirrors. Let me get away from that light, but you can see the lever on that mirror. That damn light's following me everywhere. But like I said, I just been out here tinkering today with it. Don't really want to get anything too tore apart right now, just because you're always kind of handicapped by the weather. But this car right here is pretty cool. I painted that dash and everything when I was working on this car a couple years ago. That's the original 55 Gypsy Red. So I'm thinking this is the one I'm going to jump on in the spring. Hopefully the motor will check out and it'll be ready to roll at that point. Drop it back in there, and then maybe this one right here will become a 1970 LT1. We'll see. Alright guys, well that's the update for this week. If I had days like today, I'd really be able to get some good stuff done, because it's like 45, 50 degrees out today. But it's not windy, it's not raining, it's not snowing. Yesterday we had straight line winds, like 40, 50 miles an hour. I mean, everything was blowing around. But today's a pretty good day, so I was just out here straightening up. I had junk everywhere. I was just straightening up and figured I'd do a video, keep everybody up to date. That car almost looks like a driver. Little stupid rear view mirror made a big difference in there. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next video.